Let's begin with the lesson, children. A happy morning to one and all. Or I would say a happy day all the day long. Okay. So now we are going to begin with lesson 4, that is heat. And let me assure you that you're going to have a lovely time. Okay. Let's begin with the introduction. Can you survive on the earth if it's freezing cold or that is burning hot? Your answer will be definitely a no, because we need the right temperature to live on earth. Heat is important for our life, but neither too cold nor too hot conditions are favorable for our existence. By touching different objects, you realize that some objects are hotter than the others, while some are colder than the others. But is your sense of touch reliable to make this comparison? In this chapter, we will discuss the real meaning of hot and cold and know how various things in our surroundings become hot or cold. Now, this is the sun. It is a source of energy on the earth. Let's see what the hot and cold has to tell us. In our daily life, we come across numerous objects. We consider some objects as hotter than the others and some as colder than the others. For example, an ice cream feels colder than recently cooked food or chapati. We can say that hot and cold are relative terms. We consider an object hot in comparison to an object which is colder. How would you decide which object is hotter or colder than the other? One may rely on its senses such as touch and vision, etc. But you cannot touch all the hot objects. Also, it is not a reliable method. What does your mother do when you are down with fever? What is the first thing that your doctor does when you tell them that you are running a fever? He or she definitely measures your temperature, isn't it? Now we finished with hot and cold. Let's proceed further to temperature. The degree of hotness or coldness of a body or environment is known as temperature. Temperature is a measure of average energy of the particles in a substance expressed in terms of units. You know that unit is a standard measure which is used to express amounts of something. Generally, temperature is measured by a unit called degree Celsius. It is shown as C, Kelvin, K, and degree Fahrenheit, F are the other two units of temperature. However, the Celsius scale is more commonly used all over the world. Which scale in temperature is used all over the world, children? Immediately it should be which one? Celsius scale. The normal temperature of our body is 37 degrees Celsius. In Fahrenheit scale, this temperature is 98.4 Fahrenheit. Whereas in Kelvin, it is 310.15 K. Okay, so simple, that's the formula for calculating different temperature scales. So which is the scale? Celsius. What is the formula? This is the formula, that is minus 273.15 degrees Celsius is equal to K, that is Kelvin, minus 273.15. In Kelvin, K is equal to degrees Celsius plus 273.15. In Fahrenheit, it is degree Fahrenheit is equal to degrees Celsius into 1.8 plus 32. Okay, so this is the formula that we have learned. Now coming to, do you know how we measure our body temperature? We use a device called thermometer to measure the temperature. Let us learn about the thermometer now. This is the thermometer. It's a digital one. And this is a laboratory thermometer. And this is a clinical thermometer. Okay. Now let's begin. Thermometer is a device that measures temperature. It has two important elements: the temperature sensor and scale that reads the temperature. These are different types of thermometers. such as alcohol thermometer, bimetal and mechanical thermometer, Galileo thermometer, medical thermometer, mercury in glass thermometer, digital thermometer. Among them, mercury thermometer is most commonly used. It was invented by Gabriel Fahrenheit in 1714. So who is the inventor of the clinical thermometer, children? It's Gabriel Fahrenheit. Okay, it is Gabriel Fahrenheit. Okay, so we have learned that there are different types of thermometers. Now coming to the conventional thermometers have either mercury or alcohol in them. Mercury is an ideal element to be used in thermometer because of the following reasons. Mercury is a liquid element. It remains in liquid state for a whole range of temperature. It remains in liquid state for a wide range of temperature. Mercury, being silvery gray in color, is easily visible through glass. Mercury does not stick to the glass surface. Then we have how to read a thermometer. A thermometer has graduations, that is marking or a scale made on the basis of two temperatures. In laboratory thermometers, the lower fixed point is taken as temperature at which ice melts, while the upper fixed point is taken as temperature at which water boils. A thermometer has a bulb filled with mercury and a glass stem with a thin hollow tube running within it. The tube ends at the bulb at one end and is sealed at the other end. When the bulb is in contact with the hot object, the mercury gets heated and rises in the tube called capillary tube. The marking up to which the mercury rises tells us the temperature of the object. Okay, the thermometers that our doctors use to measure our body temperature are called clinical thermometer. This is used by the doctors, children, clinical thermometer. It is generally a mercury thermometer and uses the Fahrenheit scale. This scale starts from 32 degree Fahrenheit and is divided into 180 equal divisions. In Celsius scale, each division measures a temperature difference of 1 degree Celsius, whereas each division in Fahrenheit scale measures 1 degree Fahrenheit. There is a little arrow at 98.4 degree Fahrenheit on the glass tube of a clinical thermometer. It marks the normal body temperature. Now let's go further. The tube has a constriction called kink near the bulb. It is made to ensure that mercury cannot go back to the bulb till the temperature is read. Following are the steps that need to be followed to read a thermometer. Shake the thermometer vigorously so that the mercury goes below the normal mark. Keep the thermometer either in the armpit or under the tongue of the person whose temperature is to be taken. Wait for 2 minutes. Take out the thermometer and read the mark where the silver line of mercury ends. Alright, now see in the thermometer, this is the bulb, this is the mercury in shaft, and this is the stem. Got it, children? See, here we can read the temperatures here. Okay, now precautions to be observed while reading a thermometer. Okay, thermometer should be washed properly with an antiseptic solution before and after use. Now this is very, very important. Do not hold the thermometer by its bulb while reading it. Make sure that the mercury level is below 35 degrees Celsius before you use the thermometer. The thermometer should be at eye level while reading it. Body of a thermometer is made of fine glass. Therefore, handle it with care. One needs to handle it with care because if it falls down, it will break immediately. Then it's of no use. Okay. Now let's see the activity. Ask your teacher to show how temperature of a person can be measured using a clinical thermometer. Now measure the temperature of your best friend using the thermometer. Always take care to help Always take the help of your teacher. What should we always do? We should always take the help of the teacher. Now, what I want you to do is, since you're going to be doing this at home, take the help of your parents and any one member you can do this experimentation on. Okay. Then we have the activity number 2. Take a laboratory thermometer from your teacher. Use it to measure the temperature of normal water. Take some tap water in a beaker. Dip the thermometer in water such that the bulb is immersed in water. The bulb should not touch the bottom or any sides of the beaker. Hold the thermometer vertically and observe the movement of mercury in the tube. Take the thermometer out and take the reading. This is the temperature of water. Compare the reading you measured with your friends in class. Now this too, we will show it to you as to how we are going to go about it. Okay children? Now let's see who is this Daniel Gabriel Fahrenheit. He was born in the year 1686 and lived up to 1736. Now D.G. Fahrenheit was a German instrument maker and physicist. Fahrenheit was one of the 5 children of a wealthy merchant. After his parents' death, he was sent to Amsterdam to work under a shopkeeper. There he became interested in making scientific instruments. By 1714, Fahrenheit made his first thermometer that contained alcohol and gave exact readings of the temperatures. He also determined the boiling point of water and the other liquids and studied the expansion properties of mercury. These experiments led to the discovery that boiling point of water varies with changes in the atmospheric pressure. Okay, now let's move further to the heat. Heat. We know that heat is a form of energy that can be transferred from one medium to another. An object cools down when heat flows out of it, and it warms up when the heat flows into it. It is important to remember that in all cases, heat flows from a hotter object to a colder object when left to itself. This flow continues till both the bodies reach the same temperature, the value of which will be somewhere in between the temperature of the hot body and the cold body. Okay, now let's see what this "do you know" has in store for us. It is possible to force heat energy to flow from a cold body to a hot body. We need to supply energy to do this. In air conditioners and refrigerators, this concept is used. Electrical energy is supplied in these devices to allow the flow of heat from a cold region to a hot region. Now, units of heat. Let's see how heat is measured in calories or joules. Joules is the unit of heat energy in the international standard for the system of units or SI system. It is denoted by the symbol J. Erg is another unit of heat. Okay children, so these you have learned now the units of heat. Let's see the different modes of heat transfer. The mechanisms or ways by which the heat is transferred from one region to another are called modes of heat transfer. Transfer of heat can take place in 3 ways, that is through conduction, to convection and radiation. Coming to conduction, conduction is a spontaneous transfer of heat energy from a region of higher temperature to the region of lower temperature. Therefore, conduction acts to equalize temperature differences. It is also described as heat energy transferred from one material to another by direct contact. For example, if you stir hot milk with a stainless steel spoon, after some time the edge of the spoon becomes a little warm. Similarly, when you leave the spoon in the pan while cooking food, you may find it difficult to hold the spoon again as it would have become hot. Now this you have to really try it out and see, and you will realize what is really happening, and you'll come to a correct conclusion. Okay. To understand how the conduction occurs, we need to look into the composition of the matter. You know matter is made up of molecules. What is matter made of, children? Matter is made up of molecules. In solids, molecules are tightly packed. They are not free to move, but they can vibrate about their fixed positions. Conduction involves transfer of heat energy between adjacent molecules in a solid. As the solid is heated, it increases the vibrations of the molecules which collide with the neighboring molecules, and the process continues. Thus, heat energy is passed on from one molecule to the next, although each individual molecules remains in its original position. Although what happens? Although each individual remains as a molecule in its original position. Conduction is usually a slow process and can either occur within a body or between two bodies when they are in contact with each other. Then now we finished with conduction. Now we'll go to convection. Now let's begin with convection. Liquids and gases are together called fluids. What are liquids and gases together called, children? They are called fluids, since both can flow. In case of fluids, the molecules themselves carry energy from a hotter region to a colder region. This process of heat transfer is called convection. When a fluid, such as water, comes in contact with an object whose temperature is higher than that of the fluid, heat transfer to the convection occurs. The temperature of the part of a fluid which is in contact with the hot object increases. The fluid expands and thus it becomes less dense. Since the expanded fluid is lighter than the surrounding cooler fluid, it rises. Some of the surrounding cooler fluid flows in order to take the place of the rising warmer fluid, and this process continues. The sun's rays heat up the surface of the earth. This heat is then transferred into the air by convection. Thus, convection helps in keeping our atmosphere warm. Convection also plays an important role in maintaining a moderate temperature in the coastal areas. Land masses, that is in the coastal city or beach, heat up much faster than water bodies, that's the sea and the ocean, during daytime, and cool down much faster during night. This temperature difference sets up the wind pattern. During the day, the land gets heated faster than water. The air over the land becomes hotter and rises up. The cooler air from the sea rushes in towards the land to take its place. The warm air from the land moves towards the sea to complete the cycle. The air moving from the sea towards the land is called sea breeze. What is sea breeze? The air moving from the sea towards the land is called sea breeze. At night, it's exactly the opposite. The land cools down faster than the water. The warmer air over the sea rises, so the cool air from the land moves towards the sea. This is called land breeze. Now let's go further to radiation. We have seen that the conduction and convection of heat takes place in different mediums by the movement of molecules in them. Transfer of heat in radiation does not need a medium. Like light energy, heat energy can travel in the form of waves called electromagnetic waves. Heat from the sun reaches us through the process of radiation. In winters, you feel warm when you sit near the fire or room heater, as heat from these sources reaches us through radiation. The heat or energy that is transferred from one medium to another is called radiant heat. All the objects radiate heat to their surroundings and receive heat from their surroundings. Energy from the sun reaches us by the process of radiation. All hot bodies radiate heat. Our body too gives off heat to the atmosphere and receives heat from the atmosphere by radiation. All light rays contain some amount of heat energy. When a light beam falls on a solid or fluid surface, a part of its heat is reflected. A part is absorbed and a part may be transmitted. The absorbed heat raises the temperature of the body. Why are you advised to use an umbrella when you go out in the sun, although it's not freezing? Here's the reason. Umbrella partly reflects and partly absorbs the heat. Therefore, we feel cool while walking under an umbrella, as only a part of heat is transmitted. Now you need to try this and you'll really experience it. I have experienced it. Okay. In summer, light colored clothes are preferred because they absorb less amount of heat than dark clothes. Thus, they keep us relatively cooler. This also you can try, and in fact, you will experience it. Okay. On the contrary, in winter, dark colored clothes are preferred. It is also because dark colored clothes absorb more heat and help us to keep warm. Now this is a electrical heater, and see here to the teapot we can see the modes of heat transfer. Okay, this is radiation here, this is convection, and this is conduction. Okay, did you get it, children? Okay, now let's move to the conductors and insulators. Some materials allow heat to pass through them easily and some do not. If you boil water in a pan on the gas stove, the pan becomes too hot to touch, whereas its handle, which is made of wood or plastic, does not get hot. Alright, let's go further. The materials that allow heat to pass through them easily are called conductors. For example, stainless steel, copper, aluminium, iron, etc. are conductors of heat. The materials that do not allow heat to pass through them easily are called insulators. For example, plastic, wood, water and air are insulators. Now let's go to the activity 4. Take a steel spoon, a geometry box compass, a plastic scale, an eraser and a divider. Dip one end of these articles in hot water and wait for a few minutes. Touch the other end and find out who among them are conductors and who are insulators. Note down your observation in the following table. Now this is for you to experiment. Alright, and you yourself are supposed to write whether they are conductors or insulators. Now let's move further. Do you know why woolen clothes keep us warm in winter? Wool is a poor conductor of heat. Also, air is trapped in between wool fibers. Hence, woolen clothes prevent body heat from escaping into the surroundings and we feel warm in winter. Now, going to the points to remember. Temperature is a measure of average energy of particles in a substance expressed in terms of units. Generally, temperature is measured by a unit called degrees Celsius. The normal temperature of our body is 37 degrees Celsius. In Fahrenheit scale, this temperature is 98.4 degree Fahrenheit. A thermometer is a device that measures temperature. Mercury thermometer was invented by Gabriel Fahrenheit in 1714. Mercury is a liquid element. It remains in liquid state for a wide range of temperature. A thermometer has a scale made on the basis of two temperatures. The thermometers that the doctors use to measure our body temperature are called clinical thermometers. Convection helps to keep our atmosphere warm. All light rays contain some amount of heat energy. Some materials allow heat to travel through them easily and some do not. Now let's go to some important definitions, children. Well, what is temperature? The degree of hotness or coldness of a body or environment. What is heat? The form of energy that flows from a hot body to a cold body. What is conduction? The process of heat transfer in a solid, in which heat energy is transferred from one particle to its neighbor. What is convection? The process of heat transfer in a fluid in which the particles of the fluid themselves move from one region of the fluid to another. What is radiation? The process of heat transfer through the electromagnetic waves. So children, I hope you had a lovely time learning and understanding this lesson called heat. Have a fantastic day and happy learning. See you soon.